Okay, so everyone's talking about this breaking news coming out of Pakistan. President Zardari gave this speech, and well, let's just say it's got everyone kind of on edge, and that's what we're diving into today. Why is this speech causing such a ruckus?
You know, it's interesting. It's not every day you see a president addressing a joint session of parliament over there.
Right.
You know, in Pakistan, that's a pretty big deal. They usually reserve those sessions for like massive announcements, things of national importance.
So right away, Zardari is signaling this is something huge.
Exactly. This is serious stuff.
So what exactly got him so fired up? Why'd he choose this dramatic setting for his speech?
Well, at the heart of it all, there's this very controversial issue, building new canals in Punjab's Khalistan region. The government, that's Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif and his party, the PMLN, they're pushing this project hard. But Zardari and his party, the PPP, well, they're absolutely against
I
it.
mean, why is this canal project causing such a big rift? On the surface, it sounds like a normal infrastructure thing.
Yeah, it might seem that way at first glance, but you got to understand the history of water in Pakistan.
Okay.
The country has always struggled with water scarcity, and how they divide up this precious resource has always been a point of tension between the different provinces, for decades, really.
So the Sindh government, where the PPP has a lot of influence, they're worried these new canals will take away water from their region.
Exactly. They see it as Punjab trying to take more than their fair share of the water,
Okay.
potentially leaving Sindh with, well, not enough,
Yeah.
literally and figuratively. They're saying it could really hurt agriculture, turn the land barren, and it could make the already pretty bad water situation in Sindh even worse.
So it sounds like Zardari's warning in his speech is about more than just these canals. It's
Yeah.
about this long history of water conflict and this feeling that the government's not really listening to Sindh's worries.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head there. In his speech, Zardari flat out accused the government of making decisions on their own without thinking about the other provinces, decisions that are putting a grave strain, and those were his words, on the federation as a whole.
Wow.
He's saying that the government's ignoring these smaller provinces, acting in a way that could actually destabilize the whole country.
It sounds like he's saying that this government just doesn't care.
Pretty much. Yeah.
And this whole thing about the government acting unilaterally, it goes even deeper, right? Because there was also an accusation that the prime minister's office is just ignoring directives from the presidency. That's a pretty serious accusation.
Oh, absolutely. PPP Senator Salim Manvawala actually called out the Prime Minister's office specifically, saying they were ignoring directives from the presidency. Now, this is where things get super interesting because it hints at like a power struggle at the very top of the government. In Pakistan's system, the president does have some powers reserved just for them. And if the prime minister is seen as like overreaching, well, it could cause a real constitutional crisis.
So Zardari's not just like voicing concerns here. He's directly challenging the prime minister's authority. But he did mention a way forward, didn't he? He talked about getting unanimous consensus. Is that even possible at this point? What are the chances of that actually happening?
Well, ideally, everyone would come to the table and agree on a solution, especially with something as sensitive as water. But let's be real for a sec. The PPP and the PMLN, they're like bitter rivals. They've got totally different goals, different people they represent. Reaching a consensus, that takes some serious compromises on both sides.
Right.
And right now, I don't see that happening.
So you're saying that compromises are needed, but neither side seems ready to, give an inch. What would these compromises even look like? Like, would Punjab be willing to make the canal project smaller? Would Sindh be okay with giving up something else if they got a guarantee for their water share?
I think those are exactly the right questions to be asking right now. Is Punjab going to consider different ways to manage water, ways that take care of Sindh's worries? Is the PPP going to put national unity above what they want for their region? Finding a solution that works for everybody, that's going to take a lot of political maturity and a commitment to actually talking to each other that we haven't really seen lately.
So we're left with a pretty, well, kind of scary situation. A former president giving a very serious warning, this divisive issue that goes way back, and a political environment that seems more about fighting than working together. What does all this mean for Pakistan's future stability?
That is the million-dollar question, isn't it? Zardari's speech, it was a challenge. It's hard to imagine this situation getting better without tensions getting worse first. There's a real possibility of things becoming unstable, something everyone involved needs to take seriously. Keep an eye on how the government responds to this and whether they actually try to close this gap.
This whole deep dive has been really eye-opening. Pakistan's at a crossroads. And the decisions they make in the next few weeks, the next few months, they could have some really huge lasting consequences. We've only just scratched the surface here, but I think this gives us a lot to think about. So, keep up with the news, do some of your own research, and figure out where you think all of this is headed.